So today we are going to solve Codeforce round 868 division 2 first question. In this question, it is given that consider an array a1, a2 up to an consisting of numbers 1 and minus 1. So we are given an array which contains only elements 1 and minus 1. Define a characteristic of this array as a number of pairs of indices 1 ij n such that ai into aj equal to 1. So it is given that there is a characteristic A which is defined as the product of two elements of the array is 1. So find an array A with given length n with characteristic A equal to given value k. So we have to find an array A of length n which satisfies this characteristic, that is product of two elements is equal to 1. So input is, first line is the number of test case and second line is the input integer n and k, where n is the length of array and k is the number of characteristic, which means the number of pairs of that elements in the array whose product is 1. So suppose let's take an array of size 4, n equal to 4 and k equal to 3. So here k equal to 3 means that there are total 3 pairs in this array whose product is 1. Suppose we take first one and second one. These two elements product is 1. Suppose we take first one and third one. These two products is 1. And suppose we take second one and third one. Then also these two products is 1. But if we take one minus 1 and another one, then product is minus 1. So it is simple that there are total 3 pairs which are satisfying ai into aj equal to 1. So our k is 3. In another example, let's say another example, n equal to 5 means our array length is 5. So, and let's suppose given k is 4. So how we will made that array? Here k equal to 4 means that there are 4 arrays, there are 4 pairs of elements whose product is 1. So we can conclude that our first element is 1, second element is 1. That means the product of these two is 1. First element and third element, if it is 1, then also product is 1. And if second element and third element is 1, then also its product is 1. So there are total 3 pairs of these 1. Also one case is that if we take 2 minus 1, then also the product of those 2 minus 1 is 1. So there are total 4 pairs which are satisfying ai into aj equal to 1. So now we can conclude that our given n equal to something and k equal to something. So how we will make that array? So you can easily observe that suppose n equal to 10. Suppose that n equal to 10. So how we will distribute 1 and minus 1 in the array of length 10? Either we can put all elements as 10, or all the 10 elements as 1 and nothing as minus 1, or we can put 9 elements as 1 and 1 element as minus 1, or we can put 8 elements as 1 and 2 elements as minus 1. So how many pairs can be made? For 10 ones, the pairs are 10C2. For 9 ones and 1 minus 1, the pair is 9C2. But for 8 ones and 2 minus 1, the pairs are 8C2, means the number of selecting 2 ones out of 8 ones is 8C2 plus 2C2, means the number of selecting 2 minus 1 out of 2 minus 1. So it is simple. Now we can also fill 7 ones and 3 minus ones. So selecting 2 1 out of 7 1, the the way is 7c2, and for selecting 2 minus 1 out of 3 minus 1, the way is 3c2. So these are our possibilities of k. So if we are having any k out of these k's, we can print yes. And if there is no any k out of these, we will print no. So it is simple. First we will take input number of test case, then we will take input n and k. So c in n and c in k. Now we will now we will make a vector in which we will store all these permutations. We will store all these permutations, that is 10c2, 9c2, 8c2 plus 2c2. Also one thing is to be observed, that for first two case only one term is there, but after first two cases two terms of addition are there. For n equal to 9 also, in first two case only one term is there, but other than first two there are two terms. So we can apply for loop in these two case. So let's see the code. First we have declared a vector v, and in this vector we will store the values of k. So for I equal to 1, I equal to n, I greater than equal to n by 2, I minus minus. Here why I have written this, you can observe that, look, for, yes, if there are 10 ones and 0 minus 1, and now start decreasing the number of ones and start increasing the number of minus 1. Now up to 5 5 there are 5 ones and 5 minus 1. But after this there are 4 1 and there are 6 minus 1, which is equivalent to 6 1 and 4 minus 1. So we can, the result is 4c2 and 6c2 for this 4 and 6, which is similar to this one, 6c2 and 4c2, this one. In this also, if we observe 5 and 4, then the result is 5c2 plus 4c2, which is equivalent to this result, 5c2 and 4c2 and 5c2. So the results are repeating itself after n by 2. Here n is 9, so 9 by 2 is 4. This is 4. So after this, means from this, the results are repeating itself. For n equal to 10, for n equal to 10, n by 2 is 5. N by 2 is 5. So after this 5, the results are repeating itself. So we have made one for loop which is starting from n, our given element n, and we are we are taking loop from I equal to n up to I greater than equal to n by 2, means the I is decreasing. Now if I is less than equal to n minus 2, means this one, if this I 10 is less than or equal to n minus 2, wait, is equal to n minus 2. Huh. So we have declared one variable r, which we will store as nc2 plus n minus ic2, or we can say that ic2 plus n minus ic2, whose formula is written I into I minus 1 by 2 plus n minus I into n minus I minus 1 by 2. Why we have written this? Because for first two, for the terms excluding the first two terms, the formula is IC2 plus n minus IC2. So we have written here IC2, which is I into I minus 1 by 2, and n minus IC2 means n minus I into n minus I minus 1 by 2. And we will store this R in vector. But if our I is greater than n minus 2, means we have to take these two terms, first two terms. Here this n is for 10 and 9, it is greater than n minus 2. N minus 2 is our 8 and it is 9 and 10 is greater than 8. So for this there are only one term, that is IC2. So we have written here R equal to IC2, which is equal to I into I minus 1 by 2. Now again we will store this R in vector. Now we will check that if our vector contains k, which is given characteristic, number of characteristic, if R is equal to k, then we will print yes. Here also if R is equal to k, then we will print yes. And also if R is equal to k, then we will print yes, and also we have to print that array also. So how we will print that array? So we will print it like this. Suppose our k is 0. Suppose our k is 0. So our if our k is 0, then our I is 10. So we will print 10 number of ones, and n minus I times minus 1 means 10 minus 10 times minus 1 means 0 times minus 1. If our k is 9c2, which is equal to 36, so it will check that k is equal to 36. So we will print I times 1, which is equal to 9. So we will print 9 times 1, and we will print 1 times minus 1 means n minus I times minus 1. N is equal to 10 and I is equal to 9. So 10 minus 9 is 1. So we will print 1 times minus 1. So here I have written that for h equal to 1, h is less than equal to I, we will print 1, and for h equal to 1, h is less than equal to n minus I, we will print minus 1, and we will break the loop. Similar thing is here. For h equal to 1 up to h equal to I, we will print 1, and for h equal to 1, h less than equal to n minus I means up to n minus I, we will print minus 1, and we will break the loop. After breaking the loop, also one thing is that if our R is not equal to k, means if the given k is not in the vector, then we will make a counter which is increasing. If our k is not in the vector, similarly here if our this k is not in the vector, then we will count 1 type. Now if our size of vector is equal to count, because since our count is in else condition, so if k is not in vector, then our count becomes which is equal to size of vector. So if our count is equal to vector of size, we will print no. How it can be proved? It can be proved like that. Look here. If for n equal to 4, there are only three cases that are equal to either 6 or 3 or 2. How we can conclude this? That for n equal to 4, either k is equal to 4c2, which is equal to 6, or k is equal to 3c2, which is equal to 3, or k is equal to 2c2 plus 2c2, which is equal to 2. So if our k is either of these, we will print yes. And if our k is neither of these three, then we will go to else loop and we will count it. So if suppose our k is equal to 5, then it will check for first time, it will check for second time, it will check for third time. Okay, so our count is equal to 3 and size of this vector is also 3. So if if our vector size is equal to count, then we will print no. So this is the final solution of this question. I hope you are able to understand it. And if you have not understood it clearly, then you can comment below and we will try to answer your doubt. Thank you.